What do we know at this point? What's this story about?
Well, we do know, of course, I mean, Chinese IPOs, at least in the United States and Hong Kong, they've been a juggernaut of earnings for the global banks and Wall Street banks. So this could be a potentially big game changer, obviously, and it fits into the narrative of whether Chinese securities are investable or not. But I won't go down that rabbit hole. What I will talk about is what the banking community is concerned about with these draft rules that were unveiled by Chinese authorities in December, outlining some of the approval processes for IPOs outside of the mainland. And it's quite complex and, let's be frank, according to sources telling Bloomberg News, quite vaguely written, as Chinese law oftentimes is, if I may be so frank. Now, with the political environment really kind of souring between China and the United States and data security a key issue, authorities in Beijing are quite concerned that these companies that list overseas, in particular big tech that have troves of data, that their data vaults are secure and not necessarily falling into foreign hands. The VIE structure of these companies, when they go abroad, allows them to sell securities to foreigners, kind of sidestepping Chinese law that prevents foreign investment in key industries and strategic industries like media and telecoms. Now, what we're hearing from sources who also cite this letter that was written by a group representing big global banks, that is the Asia Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association, wrote to the securities regulator in China outlining their concerns. Chief among them is essentially the lack of implementation details in these new rules. How are these rules going to be, upheld? How are they going to be implemented? And how do these banks comply with them? And of course, they're concerned by the so-called vague wording. Here's a list of some of the concerns told to Bloomberg News by sources who have seen the letter and who have also talked, of course, to key decision makers within global banks. Draft rules, as I said, are ambiguous. They will expand Beijing's regulatory reach outside of China. They will drive up costs. They'll stymie deal making and introduce hard-to-navigate regulations for firms operating in Hong Kong and elsewhere outside of the mainland. Now, the sources are telling us that this letter to the CSRC, that essentially the banks believe that the rules from Beijing are well-intentioned, but there could be many unintended consequences. They are seeking clarity on filing requirements for IPO outside of China, as well as what specifically constitute a violation. Complicated, no doubt.